Hello, everybody. Today, I want to talk about a subject that has been on my mind for a little while now, and that is the cost of EDC. In my previous video, I mentioned how, you know, the popularity of EDC it's been an explosion in the last half a decade or so. And it's a wonderful thing because it's provided us in the EDC community with lots and lots of options. And, in some cases with knives, there's always been options. In some cases, like with pens, not so much. And then like with these little small utility blades, not so much. But what I want to talk about is sort of the bad side of it now, where I feel that certain companies now are charging exorbitant prices that I feel are unjustified. And what I want to start with here is I want to start with big idea design. So I'm going to move these off the table for now because I want to talk about these right now. So big idea design, I don't have a TPT, or sorry, this is a TPT slide. I don't have a TI Pocket Pro with me anymore. I sold it. And that's part of the reason what prompted this video is when I sold it, one of the comments that, or not comment, but the feedback I got from the person that purchased it was, thank you for allowing for this to be at an affordable price. So I am not the only one that feels that big idea design charges too much for their products. And why I say that is because I've done some research for this video. And the research I've done is going to help my argument here. And again, this is my opinion. This is just from what I've seen. I feel like this is true. But if you are someone that likes any of the companies I'm going to talk about now, it's not a problem. Okay? I'm not saying that you're dumb or that you're bad for liking these companies. Any of the companies I want to talk about do make very good products, but they charge much more than what I think they're worth. So let me get into it. This is a TPT slide, and I really, really like this knife. At the time, I did not like the price because this was $100. Now it's about 90. But for $100, the form factor was amazing. And I liked how it was actuated just by this thing here. And some of the tolerances on this could be a little better. And what I mean by that is if I show you here, okay, if I'm squeezing this thing and I hit that button, it slides right in. And you can't really help that because of the size, but it is just something I just want to make mention of. Also, if you push really, really hard, this locking mechanism, this slide mechanism doesn't really work. Now, this blade is intended for draw cuts only. It's not meant for push cuts. So the only reason I bring that up is because it's gonna be part of my argument here in a little bit. So this was $100. This is an Exceed Designs Tyrant Razor V2. This was purchased for me for Christmas a few years ago, quite a few years ago actually. But arguably, this is the same material, by the way, titanium. Arguably, this is a much better design. I mean, it's a bigger form factor. It's actually, if you look at it, it's not much bigger than this. It is thicker, though. And that's why I like this so much. But it's just as easy to change the blades. And let me show you. Again, this was $100. This was $85 when it came out. And now they have a version 3 that originally was $120. Right now you can get it on a deal at the time of making this video for $80. But I just want to show you this. This is what came with my Tyrant razor when I received it. Okay, now this is titanium, so it has a lock bar insert. It's a frame lock. There's a lock bar insert there, hence the screw. This comes with an extra lock bar insert, extra barrel spacers, an extra pivot, an extra pry bar attachment. In fact, I don't think this is a pry bar attachment. I think this is just a lanyard attachment, but I put the pry bar tab, but it came with 2 options and extra parts. Okay, I'm not going to try to get that out right now, but it comes with extra parts. In fact, blades. Sorry. It comes with extra parts. It comes with extra blades. It comes with all that. Do you know what this came with when I got it? All it came with was a little leather slip that I could keep extra blades in, and it came with like a little fork, like a kind of like a fork blade. I don't know how it would even function as a fork, but they came with it. This is 85. This was 100 at the time. Now it's 90. This is made 100% in China. It is manufactured. It is assembled in China. The only thing that Big Idea Design does in the U.S. is customer service, their shipping, and their designs. Now, they do have, in Chattanooga, Tennessee, they do have a U.S. manufacturing facility, but they also charge way more, from what my research, about 30 to 40% more than what their China-made tools are. This is also manufactured in China. At least the parts are. It is assembled in America. So the argument that things that are at least assembled in America, that American labor is more, is kind of moot, because this ends up being cheaper, and it is made, or no, sorry, it is not made, it is assembled in America. Now, I'm going to move on from this. I also, my TI Pocket Pro, it's not here, but as you very well may know, a TI Pocket Pro, you actuate it by basically where you would hold it, you would twist it, and it would expose the tip of the pen cartridge, and you'd write, and then you'd untwist it, and then it would cover it up. Simple as that. I had an issue with it. The reason why I sold it was because in my pocket, it was coming apart. You know, the tolerances on it were lacking, in a sense that it would come apart, and every time I went to use it, instead of having a pen I could use, I'd have pieces of a pen, and that was extremely frustrating. So I sold it. Now, the reason I bring up the tolerances is because this is the tactile turn bolt action pen. And one of my favorite things to do is to hand this to people and ask them, how would you replace the cartridge in this? And they always try up here, because you can see a seam there. And then they kind of eventually hand it to me like, I don't know. And this is my favorite thing about this pen. I handled this in person, and when I saw this is why I bought it, even though this was $100. You see that? The machining is so well done, it's so accurate, that the seam where this separates from the body, the tip of this pen separates, unthreads from the body, is imperceptible to the human eye. That is extremely high quality machining. And this is a $100 pen that is produced, manufactured, assembled 100% in America. This is a 100% American made pen. They're located in Texas. Machine Era Classic. When I bought this, it was about $35. I believe now it's about a $50 pen. So it has increased in price. This is made in America. Okay? Big Idea Design, why are you making things in China and then charging us way more? Like, why is the TPT slide, sorry, I keep saying that, the TI Pocket Pro the same price as this, or at the time the same price as this, because now the TI Pocket Pros, I believe, in its, like in the titanium models, is a $75 pen. It's dropped $25. Why is it more? Why isn't this more? It's you can't make the argument that U.S. manufacturing is why it's, why, because this is the same price as that pen was at the time, and the tolerances were lacking. It was coming apart in my pocket, and I've seen where people, like the little patented collet system they use isn't holding the tip of the pen like it used to. It's just not. I get innovation and design is expensive. I'm not saying that it's not expensive. And they do, Big Idea Design does come up with some very, very nice and interesting designs, but they're not doing enough, in my opinion. Okay, they had a Bitbar Inline Max and a Bitbar Inline that, there was a little slop in the interfaces of the tooling, and not okay. Be better. If you're going to make it 100% in China, at least make it better. Okay, now I'm not going to harp on this for much longer. That's my rant about Big Idea Design, but they're not the only ones that are guilty of this. So I'm going to move these off the table. Okay, I'm going to get these off of here, and I'm going to bring in my next evidence that this is what's happening into the EDC world. Okay, here, Chris Reeve and Kosi, right? Large and Kosi, Benchmade 940, Osborne 940, excellent knife, beautiful knife. I love this knife. If I lost it today, I would buy another one. Just to make mention, if I lost this, I would not purchase another one, because I don't, as much as I love this, I would never purchase another one, because this was too much in my opinion. But now moving on, I love this knife. I would purchase this again if I lost it. If I lost this, I would definitely purchase this again. But here, let me give you a little history lesson. In 2000, this came out. In 2000, this was $140. Okay? It is now 2026, and this knife is, now they charge $300 for it. Why? Are you telling me that the price of manufacturing, the price of materials has gone up that much? It's gone up 114% from when this was originally made. And I've even heard, when this came out, that people could find it for 125. But the original manufacturing price of this was 140. This is the Nkosi. But the large Sebenza 21 came out in, I believe, 2008. They also came out with the Umnumzan in 2008. Now, the Umnumzan, when it came out, was a $400 knife. And there were some innovations done to that one compared to the Sebenza, large Sebenza 21, or even the small Sebenza 21. Just like this one, it has a ceramic ball lock interface, and it acts as the detent as well for the blade. This ceramic ball is a much better idea, because now it prevents wear on the lock bar interface, where at one time people would carbonize the titanium lock bar to make it harder, because titanium is soft and it will wear away. Then they went to lock bar inserts, which is a good solution because they're replaceable. But with this detent, ceramic's never going to wear down. It may, but I think it won't wear down in your lifetime or in mine. But anyway, the Umnumzan was $400 when it came out in 2008. In 18 years, it has increased 1/4 of its price. This has increased 114%. The Umnumzan increased 1/4 of its price. This large Nkosi came out in 2016. In 10 years, it has increased only 20%. This was a $450 knife when it came out. Now it's a $500 knife. Not this one. This is a glass blast version, but the regular sandblast version is $500. Now, the large Sebenza 31 came out in 2019, and it was upgraded to have the ceramic ball detent, and I believe a couple other upgrades. They got rid of like the locating hole on the handle and things. That was also $450 when it came out, and in 7 years it's increased 20%. But that's and I 100% believe that Chris Reeve is telling the truth when they say it's because of the cost of materials. This is full titanium handle. Titanium is hard to machine, which is why I understand that maybe that's why this is the price that it is. But I'm going to tell you, why are they only making it in titanium? Why not make it in other materials? Because they're catering to the EDC market, which is great, but it's also, they're charging too much for this. And I'm going to tell you, for them to manufacture this TPT slide in China costs them about $25 to $30. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to get back to this. CPM MagnaCut blade, or before it was S35 and S45 VN. This is a much better steel, in my opinion, but I believe them when they say that the price increase was for the cost of materials, because it wasn't that much of an increase. Benchmade, on the other hand, has done nothing to innovate this knife. They've come out with some different knives with different material, handle materials, and blades, but other than, the only thing that's really changed about this knife is the blade steel. When this first came out, it was 154 cm, and now it's S30V, sorry. And it has blade play. Right now it has minimal blade play, but I don't have a quite drop shut action. I got to break it in again. I got to fling it in. Benchmade, you can do better. This is not okay. When I bought this, it was $200, and I could swallow that. I could accept that, yeah, you're paying for the butterfly tax, that little butterfly there, because they do have an excellent warranty. And all the companies I'm talking about here have excellent customer service and warranty. My argument isn't that they're shilling out just garbage and they're treating their customers like garbage, but because of the prices they're charging, they are gouging their customers. They're punishing their customers. And Spyderco did this with the Shaman. The Shaman at one time was a $150 knife. Then it jumped up to $180. Okay, no big deal. And then it was like overnight. I mean, overnight it jumped up from $180 to $280. And not long after that, the Bodacious came out. And the Bodacious was priced at $262. Since then, the Bodacious has dropped, went to $225, and now it sits about $230. They did the same thing. They charge too much for what something is. When something was originally $150, 150 to $180, okay, cool, I can see that. $180 to $280? What are you doing? Why? That's a ridiculous price increase. This is what I'm getting at with this argument, is that companies need to have a little more integrity. Why is it that the materials, they can argue that the materials have gone up and the price on these, again, this is a $500 knife, this is a $300 knife, but why is it that the price of these, this one has not jumped up as much as this one? And I get wanting to move up market as a company. Again, they're going to want to make profit, and I'm not saying that they want to be Chris Reeve, but I'm sure they would like to sell their knives for $500 like Chris Reeve does. They're going about it all wrong, in my opinion. Why punish your customers? Why do that? Why not innovate? If you're going to make this a $300 knife, make it so it has no blade play. Fix the things that are wrong with this. Okay? Maybe make your Omega springs a little thicker so they don't break, because I've had them break on me. Just once, but I have had them break. You could contact Chris Reeve and they will send you parts for the knife. They encourage you to disassemble the knife. Benchmade does not. Again, I'm being nitpicky, but I'm going to be nitpicky for this topic, because although these companies both have excellent warranties, they go about it in such a different way that I feel that they have more, one company has more integrity than the other. Okay. I feel like Big Idea Design is a company that's lacking a little bit of integrity in their marketing, because yeah, you're catering to the EDC market and you're producing these things, but and tell me if you disagree with me, that's fine, but they are, in my opinion, they charge too much for what their products are. This should not be a $300 knife, not with what they're doing. They can do better. I love Benchmade, but I'm not going to continue to support something that I don't agree with. Again, if I lost this, I would buy another one, even at the $300 price point. That's because I love the knife. I don't necessarily love Benchmade anymore. This, if I lost it, I wouldn't even bother. I have not carried this for a long time, and now it's $100 waste of money. I carry this. I love this knife. Yeah, you can argue I'm still in the honeymoon phase, but you know what? This is an excellent knife, an excellent blade. And if you've ever handled one, you know what I mean. This is arguably better than this. And you get much more extras. And this was $85 when it came out. This is a much better pen than the TI Pocket Pro. And honestly, I would say some of their, because they have a bolt action. Big Idea Design has a bolt action pen that is, uses their patented system. And it's great that you can use any cartridge you want with it. But you know what I found out when I got my TI Pocket Pro is that I only like using one cartridge. So why not buy a pen that uses that one cartridge? That's why I got this one, because it uses the same one this one uses, and I enjoy it. I actually end up carrying this more than this most of the time because I like the height. I don't like that I have to post and screw this, but I'm getting away from my topic. These companies need to do a little better. I think that they can make this in other materials, or charge less, or make it in other materials so it's more accessible to people, so you can charge less for what it is. Benchmade needs to do better. Spyderco, they've fallen from grace because they've done the same thing. I mean, think their Kapara was one time like $160 knife, a $200 knife. Now it's going up. It's like a $230 knife, and it just keeps going up, about $250 or something like that. I've seen it at one time. Not okay. I only want to purchase from companies with some exceptions, right? Because of options that have integrity. And I would argue this is the same price today, $100. This has gone up, and I will say maybe cost of materials. I will agree with that. It hasn't gone up much. It's gone up $10 to $20 from what I originally purchased it. This has gone up as well, but they've come out with a third version with improvements. And like I said, at the time of filming, this is $80. But originally not this one, but the version 3 is $80 at the time of filming. But it's also, originally it was $120 when it came out. And then you can buy fancier versions with better or different materials that are way more expensive. I mean, they're guilty too. Why are we doing this? I haven't fallen out of love with the hobby, but I'm a little disgusted with how much things are. Okay. And I'm going to end it here because I think I've said everything I need to say, and I don't want this video to go on for too much longer. But, just food for thought. I've presented my argument, I've presented the history, I've presented the evidence, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for hearing me out. You guys have a good one. God bless you, and remember, Jesus loves you. Bye-bye.